Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Arion with Investing Architect. I'm getting in the office a little early this morning. I've got some interesting work to do that I'm really looking forward to digging into. So what it is, it's a client that we prepared a blueprint plan for them last year. And as part of that planning process, we do an annual review at the beginning of each year where we go over three main things. The first thing we go over is how do we do on the goals that we set for last year? Did we hit the goal, in terms of acquisitions? Did we acquire the assets that we thought we were going to acquire? If we did, awesome. If we didn't, why didn't we? What changed? And we go through a brief review of last year. The second thing that we go over is what do we know today that we didn't know at the beginning of the planning process last year, so that we can course correct the strategy, right? With new information, with fresh information. The third thing that we go over is what are our goals for the next 12 months? So the plan is, extends or spans 10, 15 years. But what we want to do is we want to focus on execution for the next 12 months. And that enables the investor to stay focused on execution and making those moves instead of worrying and constantly analyzing, what if this or what if that. So that's the work that I've got to work on today. But I wanted to share a brief story with you that hopefully illustrates why this planning process is so important. So picture two college friends, right? They go to the same college, same intelligence, right? Same, natural talents. And they graduate from college. They go and get very similar jobs where they make the same amount of money and they live a very similar lifestyle, right? And they they have the same savings rate. They have the same amount of capital that they have to invest. Now, at this point in the road is where the fork happens, right? One of these people ends up building a world-class portfolio, substantially changes his life, creates several income streams that he can deploy at different parts of his life, depending on what he wants to do, as opposed to at the very end in retirement. And the other perhaps acquired a couple of rentals, but it never really amounted to any life-changing outcomes for him. So the question is, what was the difference? What was the difference between the person with the same resources, with the same ingredients? These two individuals were able to build something vastly different, substantially different from each other, right? Because it certainly wasn't the intelligence, it wasn't the capital, it wasn't the age or the time that they had available, it wasn't the savings rate, right? All those things are equal. So what was the difference? In my experience, the thing that makes the difference between people who achieve something meaningful in real estate and people that don't is the presence and execution of a solid plan. Because in order to build a substantial portfolio involves the process of building a substantial portfolio involves it's a very complex process, right? So it has never happened by accident. Nobody has ever woken up 20, 30 years later and say, look, honey, turns out, we built this real estate portfolio. We didn't even know we were building it. It just happened, right? That almost never happens, because in order for you to achieve that, you've got to stay disciplined for a long period of time. And the way that you stay disciplined for a long period of time is you're supposed to know where you're starting from, where you're trying to go, and then set milestones along the way that show you where are you supposed to be at each of those points, so that then you can course correct, right? If your plan, for example, predicts that you will have 5 rental properties or $600,000 worth of real estate assets in year 5, if in year 5 you're not in fact at 600,000 or at 5 rental properties, what happened? And what can you do going forward to catch up or slow down or whatever the case may be, right? So as you're considering investing in real estate, one of the things you have to realize is that real estate investing recently has become almost like one of the things to do. If you think about it, most people that you know that are in the middle and upper middle and high income tax brackets, all of them almost own investment real estate. But the problem is the way that they own investment real estate is the same way that you're supposed to buy a nice big house when you have a good income, then you buy a second house, then you buy a boat, then you buy a couple of rentals. So it's become the thing to do to keep up with sort of your level of income. But where real estate really takes off, right, I believe that's selling the potential of the asset class way too short. You have to reach a certain amount of critical mass in terms of how many assets you own in order for that to have life-changing effects on your finances and your life in general, right? And that is almost impossible to achieve without first having and then sticking to a plan with discipline over a long period of time. So I hope this message is helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Follow us on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions about any of these topics that we're talking about or anything else that you'd like me to address, I will do so in another video if you just comment below. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Go kill it.